Okay, so we're going to talk about the pancreas now, and the pancreas is a very important organ. Most of you know it because it makes insulin. And insulin is about 10% of what the pancreas does, but insulin is vitally important for blood sugar. Now the main thing that it does, it makes pancreatic enzymes. So what is an enzyme? An enzyme is something that breaks things down. It makes them smaller. So when we make we have food that comes in, say for example a protein, a piece of chicken, we want to break it down from a protein building block to an amino acid. And that's what enzymes do, is they break them down into smaller and smaller particles so our body can use them. So pancreatic enzymes are going to be shipped from the pancreas into the small intestine in order to break our food down into microscopic particles so we can absorb them. Now the problem is that if the pancreas gets blocked up or gets inflamed, it can lead to pancreatic cancer. Pancreatic cancer, as we know, you have a 2% survival rate. And that just shows how important the pancreas is, because if you don't digest your food, you're not going to live very long. And that's why it's so important to make sure that the pancreas is working properly. So next thing we're going to talk about is how do we absorb our food in the small intestine. Okay, so now what I want to do is talk about the small intestine. And the small intestine isn't so small. It's 24 feet long actually, and it's wrapped inside of your digestive tract. And it's hooked up to the stomach, and it has the tubes that come from the pancreas, putting the enzymes in there. It has the food coming out of the stomach, and then it also has the bile coming out of the gallbladder that's coming in to break the food down. So as we break our food down, we want to get it into microscopic particles. We want to change it from fats, carbohydrates, and proteins down to amino acids and fatty acids and glucose. And these are real small particles, and what they do when they're broken down, the lining of the intestinal tract has little small hairs. They're called villi. And the food comes by and it's sucked up by the hairs, and it goes right across the cell membrane of the intestine into the bloodstream. Once it goes into the bloodstream now, it's carried to every cell of your body. And that's what keeps you alive and healthy. So that's the key, is absorption, is what the small intestine does. Breaking down and absorbing all the foods and the nutrients for you to become healthy. So you can see, if we're not absorbing good and there's a problem with the small intestine, we're going to have some major problems with our health. I want you to understand, it's not just what you eat, although we want to eat healthy, it's what you absorb into your cells that make you healthy. So now I want to explain to you something that's really, really important. It's called leaky gut syndrome. And what that means is this: in your small intestine, there's only one cell that divides the intestinal tract to your bloodstream. It's very, very thin. And what can happen is the intestinal tract, it has what we call nooks and crannies. It's not just flat, it's got these nooks and crannies in the intestinal tract. And when we don't digest our food, say we don't have enough hydrochloric acid, we are not breaking down fats, we don't have digestive enzymes, and the food comes through and it's not digested properly, big pieces of undigested food will get into those nooks and crannies in there, and it will start to impact in there. That's going to attract viruses, bacteria, different types of fungus, candida yeast, molds, and even parasites, because they love to eat on this dead, rotting either food that hasn't been digested. And once they get in there, what they can do is they can, over time, poke small pinholes in that one cell lining, and they can leak food into the bloodstream. They can leak fungus, parasites. All these bugs can get out of the intestinal tract and into the bloodstream, and then they can be carried anywhere. So in other words, they could go into your lungs and cause lung problems. They could go into your brain. They could go into your liver, your kidneys. You could have parasites go throughout your body. You could have different funguses go and have nail fungus on your toes and fingernails, chronic coughs. All these things can be related. And we call that, they call it autoimmune conditions. Auto means your body is attacking itself, because once these things get into the bloodstream that aren't supposed to be there, the body and the immune system says, look, go after that and attack it. And it creates things like lupus and MS and ALS and all these different types of conditions. Chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia are all related to leaky gut. We even know that it's being related to type 2 and type 1 diabetes, because they can go and damage the pancreas also. So there's far-reaching ramifications of this leaky gut problem developing. And it's happening more and more with people because people are taking lots of medications now. The average Minnesotan is filling 11 to 12 medications per year. That can create a problem. The food and the diet and the chemicals, particularly the pesticides we're putting on our food, will damage this digestive tract there. And the last thing that happens is, I want to talk to you about, is what we call our microbiome. So our microbiome are our friendly bacteria. And the friendly bacteria, they work together with us to, first of all, create a strong immune system. So 60 to 70% of our immune system is in our digestive tract with these good bacteria. So they help to fight off the bad guys. They also help to digest our food, break down our food. They also help to make, like, B vitamins. B vitamins are necessary for energy in our body. They reduce stress in our body. They also work with what we call neurotransmitters. They make neurotransmitters. Now, what are neurotransmitters? They are chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, things that make us feel happy. One of the biggest things we see now is depression. People are on antidepressive drugs. They got anxiety. That's because they're not getting enough of these neurotransmitters made in the gut, shipping up to the brain and causing us to feel good. And the microbiome being destroyed is one of the biggest reasons. So how does the microbiome, or the good bacteria, the friendly guys, get destroyed? Number one, antibiotics. When we take an antibiotic, guess what? It doesn't know a good guy from a bad guy. It goes in and destroys the microbiome. Second of all, we have antibiotics in our food. They've been put in since 1940 in the feed, and they're given to us every single day when we eat any protein or chicken or fish, dairy, beef, all that stuff has antibiotics in it. Different drugs will damage the microbiome tremendously. Toxic chemicals, particularly like Roundup that's sprayed on there, will damage the microbiome and kill off the good guys. So we should have 85% good guys and 15% bad guys, approximately. And that shifts when we put all that junk into our system and kill off the good bacteria. That ends up creating all kinds of problems with weakened immune system. People get colds and flus and they're sick all the time. Their immune system's weaker, can lead to cancers, can lead to all kinds of different health problems. Leaky gut, chronic fatigue, all these things are coming from the gut area. That's why this is so important. So now the last thing we do is we got to take a look at the large intestine. It's about 4 to 5 feet long, and it's the sewer system. The sewer system is designed to get rid of waste products. And the other thing it does is it's designed to go in, and it's designed to pull water out of the intestine so we reabsorb water and don't get dehydrated. So it's very important to do that. That's why we need to drink water and be hydrated throughout the day in order to not get constipation and not get bound up and create problems with it. It's also why we have to digest our food good, because otherwise the sewer will get all clogged up and those nooks and crannies will get what we call diverticulitis, and diverticulitis will turn into colon cancer, which is one of the number one causes of death in this country now. All related back from not digesting your food way up in the stomach, not chewing your food, not going ahead and having the proper bile, not having the proper pancreatic enzymes, and not having enough of the good bacteria to break everything down. So I hope you can begin to see just how important this digestive tract is and how easy it is for us to be able to get it back on track. So that's one of the things that we do with our testing. We test a thing called Indican, which is a urine sample that will check to see how is your microbiome doing. So hope this video has been really helpful for you. Be sure to watch it. You may have to watch it a few times to pick everything up. Have a great day and God bless.